You know, life can be really tough sometimes. People go through things that feel too big to handle. Maybe a child is very sick, or a family is going through a divorce. Sometimes it all happens at once: stress, pain, fear. It's a lot. I remember being in Los Angeles during the wildfires. It was awful. The fires burned down homes in Malibu and Pacific Palisades. Some of my friends lost everything. 60 miles gone. That's the size of Paris, just gone. That kind of loss is hard to describe. But when you're in a moment like that, you have two choices: break down or rise up. I know how that feels personally. My own home burned down years ago. I was angry. I was sad. I had all these emotions bubbling inside me. But in that moment, I looked at my 3 kids, and I realized I needed to be strong for them. I needed to show them what was possible. I had to discipline my disappointment. That means I had to control how I responded, even though it hurt. Sure, I lost things. Important things, special things, memories. But I reminded myself, things can be replaced. People can't. Family, loved ones, that's what really matters. There's an old story that every culture tells, the hero's journey. It's the story of someone who lives an ordinary life, then suddenly, something big happens. Their world changes. Maybe their home burns down. Maybe someone they love gets sick. Maybe they lose everything. It's painful. It's scary. But that challenge becomes the start of their new life. That happened to me. I had a beautiful place called Del Mar Castle. I loved it. I had built it for my family. But when it was gone, I was forced on a new journey, a journey into the unknown. We had to build a new home. We met new people. I found new mentors, made new decisions, and yes, I faced new battles. But here's the thing: when you grow, when you fight through it, when you face that fire, you slay the dragon. And when you return home, you come back stronger. You come back as the hero of your own story. That's not something you learn in a book. That's something you earn with your life. And just when you think you're safe, life brings another test. It never stops. It's not because life is cruel. It's because life wants us to grow. So what do you do when you're in pain? What do you do when you're stressed to the edge? As simple as it sounds, if you're going through hell, keep going. You don't stop. You don't sit down. You keep walking through it. Because if you do, you come out the other side and you learn 3 things. First, you discover how strong you really are. Most people don't know their strength until they're tested. But once you're pushed, you realize what's inside you. Second, you find out who your true friends are. Not your Facebook friends. Not the ones who only show up when it's easy. I mean the people who show up when things are hard. The ones who call, who care, who sit with you when you're broken. And third, you gain something powerful: resilience. You build up something like an armor against future pain. Not because you're numb, but because you've seen darkness and made it through. I have a friend who was captured in the Vietnam War. He was locked in a tiny room, chained to the floor. When he had to use the bathroom, it ran down his back and burned his skin. 7 years he lived like that. Years later, he had a major problem with the IRS. It took him 3 years to fight it. But I noticed, he barely flinched. He told me, if the North Vietnamese couldn't break me, nothing can. That's the power of going through something hard and surviving it. Now, I want you to remember something very important. Life is not happening to you. Life is happening for you. That might sound strange. You might be thinking, how is this pain happening for me? When we lose something or someone, when we suffer, when we're confused, it doesn't feel like it's for us. It feels unfair. It feels like life is against us. But that's where your strength is born. That's when your mind starts to shift, if you let it. You see, when I look back on my childhood, there were a lot of painful things. Things I didn't ask for. Things I didn't want. But now I can say, those moments shaped me. They were for me. I didn't like them at the time, but they helped make me who I am today. The same is true with my father. The pain, the anger, the confusion, it was all part of a bigger plan. It gave me drive. It gave me compassion. It taught me to fight for people. That pain pushed me to grow. When I do my events, when I speak to thousands of people, I can feel that energy in the room. People want to change. They want to grow. But they're stuck. They're stuck in fear. They're stuck in their habits. So for a day, a weekend, or a week, they come and they break out of their comfort zone. And during that time, they feel something new. Something powerful. But the real question is, how do you make it last? How do you go home and keep that transformation alive? People often think I'm just a motivator. Someone who pumps people up. But the truth is, I'm not a motivator. I'm a strategist. Motivation might make you feel good for a few minutes. But without a strategy, you go back to your old habits. See, even if you have the best tools, the best advice, the best ideas, if your energy is low, you won't use them. That's why I create experiences that raise your energy, your emotions, your focus. Because when you're fully alive, you take action. People come to my events and say, "Oh, this is a motivational seminar." No, it's much more than that. It's about discovering what truly drives you. What wakes you up? What gives your life meaning? Everyone is motivated by something. Some people are motivated by comfort. Some by food. Some by fear. Some by love. The secret is knowing what drives you and how to direct that energy toward growth. What I teach is how to condition your nervous system, your mind, your body, your emotions so that you don't just change for a moment, but for life. And that's why I've been able to help not just everyday people, but world-class athletes, top business leaders, and people from all walks of life. Then came COVID. Everything shut down: stadiums, events, travel. I was used to being in a room with 15,000 to 20,000 people. I feed off that energy. But suddenly, it was all gone. So, I built a studio. I knew people still needed help. I couldn't wait for things to open again. I had to find a way to reach people where they were, in their homes, in their isolation, in their fear. At first, I wasn't sure it would work. I was used to rock concert-like energy, people jumping, shouting, feeling alive. But I adapted. I started delivering virtual events. And guess what? It worked. People started to transform, even through a screen. Then something amazing happened. I got a call from Stanford University. They said, "We had 2 professors clinically depressed who came to your Date with Destiny event. 6 days later, they were off all medication. They were doing great." They asked, "Do you have any studies on this?" I told them, "I have millions of graduates. I have a Netflix documentary called I Am Not Your Guru. You can see people changing right there, people who were suicidal, people who thought their life was over. But 6 years later, they're thriving. It's all real." Then they said something that changed everything. "We want to do a real clinical study. Depression is out of control. Suicide is rising. People are overdosing on medication. We want to study your method as a non-drug solution." So I asked them, what do the existing studies say? What's the usual result from therapy or medication? They told me something shocking. They said, when people go to therapy or take antidepressant drugs, 60% of them don't get any better at all. No improvement. Zero. And the other 40%? They usually get about 50% better. So they're only half as depressed. But they're still not happy. And the worst part? Most of them have to stay on those drugs forever. And the drugs often come with side effects like weight gain, mood swings, and even more suicidal thoughts. Yes, some antidepressants actually have suicidal thoughts as a side effect. That's crazy. So I told them, I believe we can do better. Not just a little better. A lot better. They were curious but a little skeptical. They said the best study they'd ever seen was at Johns Hopkins University. They used psilocybin magic mushrooms combined with a month of therapy. That's a serious, heavy-duty process. But the results were powerful. After 6 weeks, 54% of the people had zero symptoms of depression. That was the best result in the history of psychiatry. The 7% who didn't get fully better still made huge progress. Some of these people came in with suicidal thoughts, thinking about ending their lives every day. But after the 6 days, not one of them had suicidal thoughts anymore. Even more amazing? They checked in 1 year later, after no more events, no more therapy, no more drugs, and those same people still had a 72% drop in negative emotions and a 51% increase in positive emotions. That's not just change. That's transformation. So I had to ask the same question you're probably asking right now. If this works so well, why isn't everybody doing it? Why is it not on the news? Why don't most doctors know about it? Why aren't hospitals using this instead of handing out pills? And the answer is not easy to hear. Right now, we don't have a healthcare system. We have a sick care system. That means the system doesn't make money when people get well. It makes money when people stay sick and need drugs for life. I'm not saying every doctor is bad. Most of them are amazing people who care. But the system around them, insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, government rules, it's all built around selling medication, not curing people. Let's be honest. Medication is a big business. Pills you take every day? That's a steady income for companies. But if someone like me helps you fix the root of the problem, if you don't need pills anymore, that's bad for their business. During COVID, you saw a lot of truth come out. People like Dr. Oz, Bobby Kennedy, and others started speaking out. They told us things we weren't hearing from the government. They talked about real health. Real solutions. Not just fear and control. Now, some of those people are in positions of power. They're trying to change things. But the system doesn't change overnight. It takes time. And it takes all of us waking up to what's really happening. Here's what I know for sure. The human spirit is more powerful than any pill. More powerful than any diagnosis. More powerful than any label people try to put on you. You are not broken. You're not weak. You're not your depression. You're not your anxiety. You're not your past. You're a creator. A fighter. A builder. A giver. A leader. A miracle in motion. When you learn to take control of your mind and emotions, your life changes. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. You stop asking, why did this happen to me, and you start asking, what is life trying to teach me? That's when everything shifts. That's when your pain becomes your power. Your scars become your strength. Your worst moments become your greatest lessons. So how do you create lasting change in your life? It's not by hoping. It's not by waiting for someone else to fix you. It's not by blaming your past or your parents or your boss or the government. It starts with you. You have to take responsibility for your own emotions, your own reactions, your own beliefs. Not in a way that blames you, but in a way that empowers you. Because if you're the one responsible, then you also have the power to change it. At my events, we don't just sit and talk. We move. We dance. We shout. We dig deep. We cry. We laugh. We feel alive. Why? Because when you move your body, you move your emotions. And when you move your emotions, you can finally change your patterns. Most people try to think their way into a new life. But you can't think your way into a different emotion. You have to condition it into your nervous system. That's how you make the change stick. You learn to break the old pattern and replace it with something better. Let me give you an example. Let's say you always feel anxious when something goes wrong. A bill is late. Someone yells at you. you lose your job. Your brain is trained to panic, to freeze, to give up. But what if you could rewire that? What if, instead of fear, your brain learned to feel focus? What if, instead of breaking down, you learned to rise up? What if your nervous system was trained so well that, in the middle of a storm, you stayed calm and found a way forward? That's the power of conditioning. And that's what we do. We train your mind and body together to become stronger, clearer, and more powerful. At the heart of everything I teach is this simple truth. Meaning equals emotion. Emotion equals life. Let me say that again. The meaning you give something becomes the emotion you feel. And the emotions you feel shape the quality of your life. If you give something a terrible meaning, like I'm not good enough, or this always happens to me, then you will feel terrible emotions. You'll feel sadness, anger, fear, helplessness. But if you choose a new meaning, like this is my chance to grow, or life is preparing me for something bigger, you feel hope. You feel strength. You feel possibility. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's possible. And that's what gives you freedom. Because once you learn to choose your meaning, you are no longer a prisoner of the world around you. You don't need the world to be perfect. You just need your mindset to be strong. And when that happens, watch out. Because you become unstoppable. Maybe right now you're facing something hard. Maybe you've lost someone. Maybe your health is not okay. Maybe your heart is broken. Maybe you feel tired of fighting. But let me remind you. This is not the end of your story. You are still breathing. That means you still have purpose. You still have a mission. There's something you are here to give. Something only you can do. Your pain is not the end. It is the beginning of your next level. Don't let your past write your future. Don't let the world tell you what you can or cannot become. You are more than your circumstances. You are more than your struggles. You are more than your mistakes. You are a human being with the power to transform. And the best way to change your life is to change your emotions, to change your story, and to change your strategy. Every moment is a chance to reset, to rise again, and to rewrite your story. And remember, growth is not a straight line. Healing isn't always fast. Some days you'll feel like giving up. But the fact that you're still here, that you're still trying, means you're already stronger than you think. Your life matters. Your story matters. You matter. Now go live it.
Please like and subscribe for more videos.